Jim Webb has dropped out of the race for the Democratic nomination and is considering running as an independent, which is sort of like if Stuart from The Big Bang Theory quit his job and tried to get his own TV show. Gotta say, that was a pretty good joke. This is why Jim Webb will never be president. Howdy gang, Jim Webb dropping out of the race for the Democratic nomination was the most surprising thing I've heard since learning that Jim Webb was a human being that existed. After all, in the month of October alone, his support doubled from 0.6% to 1.2%. At that rate, by Election Day 2016, he would have gotten 2,457.6% of the vote, and we would all be groveling at the feet of Emperor Webb for the rest of eternity. Let's hear from the man himself why he would have made such a great president.
Is it possible for us to return to a leadership environment where people from both political parties and from all philosophical points of view would feel compelled to work together for the common good?
And is it possible for us to return to a time when full-screen 480p announcement videos with weird swooshy blue stuff in the background, probably filmed at a public access TV station in Portsmouth, Virginia, would be anything other than a massive embarrassment for a man seeking the office of the most powerful person in the world?
I believe it is possible.
I don't.
Over the past few months, thousands of concerned Americans from across the political spectrum have urged me to run for president.
Really, Jim? Thousands of people urged you to run for president? Have you considered asking them to subscribe to your YouTube page, which currently has 323 subscribers? I know you thought you could hook them with both of your videos and the 10th result on Google Images when you search for large pictures of American flags, but in this day and age, that's just not enough. Still, it must have been really difficult for the 69-year-old one-term senator from Virginia to fight through the fervent crowds of people just begging him, please, Jimmy, run for president. There just aren't enough candidates out there right now, and what the Democratic Party really needs to get fired up is an old white guy who served in the Reagan administration. So, with the World Wide Web calling his name, the personification of a dusty, broken musket took the call to action.
All I ask is that you consider the record I am putting before you and give me the opportunity to earn your trust.
Because if there's one thing you can guarantee about Jim Webb, it's his loyalty.
Jim Webb has dropped his bid for the Democratic presidential nomination. Should current frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump become the Democratic and Republican candidates, he would be able to win election to the White House as an independent.
Yo, Webmaster, what are you doing? What happened to those thousands of people you claimed were urging you to run for president? Are you just going to toss them aside like rag dolls? Or were they literal rag dolls? You know what? I'm not being fair. Let's hear what he has to say in the actual speech before making any judgments.
Daniel Patrick Moynihan's wife Elizabeth sent me a wooden chink that had been used to put together the old schoolhouse on the rural farm where he wrote his books. It had a note on it saying, 2 square pegs and 2 round holes.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really listening to anything that was just said. Who is that poor man being forced to hold up that frame? He looks so sad and lost. Did he attack Jim Webb during Vietnam and now is forced into indentured servitude for the rest of his life? Also, is it really wise for Jim Webb, a relatively boring candidate, to present an analogy that compares himself to a piece of wood? What is it with these abysmal Democratic candidates and comparing themselves to dull, inanimate objects?
Anderson, you're looking at a block of granite.
Well, Anderson, I'm a block of granite. Well, I'm a piece of wood. And I'm a stale loaf of bread. Don't vote for us. We would make terrible presidents. Speaking of which, let's take a look back at some of the final moments of Jim Webb as a Democratic candidate.
You've heard a lot of promises up here. You've heard a lot of rhetoric.
If you vote for me, I won't make any promises, and I'm not even sure what rhetoric is.
Once the election's over, people start from scratch again and try to get things done.
A Jim Webb presidency would mean no effort whatsoever to get anything done.
You've all made a few people upset over your political careers. Which enemy are you most proud of?
I'd have to say the enemy soldier that threw the grenade that wounded me, but he's not around right now to talk to.
All right, time for closing.
That is the face of a man who truly believes that the American people will want to vote for him because he has personally murdered people. In the end, that face didn't really have a place in the Democratic Party. But to be honest, he doesn't really have a place in politics in general. There's no way that if he ran as an independent, he would get more than 2% of the vote. But that's the thing. 2% of the vote is all it would take to tilt things from a Clinton presidency to Trump tyranny, or even worse, a Carson colonoscopy. So what Jim Webb might be trying to do is broker a deal with Hillary Clinton. If he ends up not running as an independent, then she might just have to give him the cabinet position he wants, which of course is the secretary of blowing shit up and killing folks. And that is why Jim Webb should run as an independent, but will never be president. Hey, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Chandler Dean videos, where I profile a new candidate every weekend or whenever they decide to bounce. Or, also, you can follow me on the Twitters, the Facebooks, and the Instagrams at Chandler J. Dean. Thanks for watching.